Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. We are talking season 13, episode 8, Educated Guess.
Did I do that backwards?
I don't know, Taylor. I don't know what you're trying to do.
It looks okay
I
to me.
always try to do it for visual aid, and it just never works the way I want.
Well, welcome everybody. If you're new here, hello. I'm Yael Tygiel. I am joined by my amazing panel. Of course, Felicia Michelle is here. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, guys. So happy to be back with my ladies.
So happy to have you. Taylor Gates is here. Hello, Taylor.
I am. Hello.
Hi. Again, for anyone who is new, you may need this hotline, and we present it to you every week. It is the RAINN Hotline. If you have been assaulted or need help, please reach out. Their number is 1-800-656-4673, 1-800-656-4673. Taylor, what does that spell?
Hope.
It spells
Wow.
enough. It spells hope. I'm gonna say it louder. You said it first, but I'll say it louder.
I haven't been able to do that to you in several weeks, so I know myself. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
We are off the rails today. We have literally not even started. I love you both. I'm so happy. For those who may not know, our show will be silly like this, even though we are discussing very serious topics. So please consider this your content warning. Sometimes the show will go dark, and I think this episode does touch upon a lot of serious issues, but we are not serious people and say a lot of things. So consider this your content warning. I will upset someone.
It's just not a Sunday with the girls if we haven't pissed someone off. So, I mean, honestly, it's okay, though. It's all love. We still love. You're still watching, though. If you're still watching, then you must a little bit
Unless you're hate watching, which I don't care. Hate watch, love watch, as long as you're watching. We love to see it.
I also want to give a shout out to anyone who's listening to our audio version of the podcast. I appreciate our audio listeners so much. We have a lot of audio listeners, and I really want them to know that they are so appreciated.
Yes.
I'm full of love today, guys.
This is very rare for you, Yael. Not your usual state of being.
Look, I wanted to say, so what's happening? What's sparked such a change? But we can talk about that after the show.
I'm just happy that you're both here. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough.
And this is a great episode too. So
absolutely,
our episode, and those are literally some of my favorites. I'm a name dropper.
Oh, we're gonna name drop. Let's talk about this episode. Season 13, episode 8, Educated Guess. Anyone who's watching us live and is in the chat can feel free to try to figure out why this is the name of this episode, because it does not make sense. When Taylor picked this episode, I was like, Educated Guess? What the hell is that one? Then I was like, wait, I love this episode.
I didn't know that was.
Yeah, I always think this one's about a college or a school or something, with the educated. I have no idea why it's called this, but whatever. It's fine. The title, maybe not all the way there. The episode,
it's kind of on the same vibe as Legitimate Rape that we did last week. It's okay, well, is this a thing? The title's
that made sense. Legitimate Rape was the argument.
But it feels like it should be like that. It should have been something.
Yes.
But it wasn't. It's okay.
Right.
I won't question it.
Whatever. I'm upset. Here is the quick cap for this episode. Benson and Rollins investigate whether a psychiatric patient was raped in her hospital ward, which ultimately leads to a possible predator close to her home. Great quick cap. Perfect quick cap. Let me know exactly which episode it was, because the title did not.
Yeah, very true. No.
So our episode starts in the park. Finn and Rollins are looking for a groper. I guess that groper is still at large because we never come back to him. Or maybe he does migrate south for the winter. So that's possible.
Maybe so.
Cop a feel through a coat.
What a great line.
Who would disagree?
I was like,
is our friend who loves shearling.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew we were gonna bring that up.
I love him. I love him so much.
What a character. What a character.
So then we're in the park and there's a guy running who gets named the Naked Fish on YouTube. And that is what his name is in my notes now. He has this hallucination of his girlfriend Amber, who's trying to get it on with him. But it seems that he's overheating, which happens with drugs. He has to go to the psych emergency room because he has to be cleared before that they can arrest him. I like this whole little storyline. This poor naked fish, you know, his life is over. His story's over. We don't see him again. I would love to see this kid again.
He's a first-time offender, so like they're like, and he'll be out in a week. So in my head, I was like, I guess that's them kind of putting a bow on like what will happen to this guy. Like, oh, he's a first-time offender. He really hasn't done this before. He should be out in a week, like a little slap on the wrist or something like that. I didn't know you got a slap on the wrist for putting your penis out in front of all those people. I didn't know like that's the punishment for it, like a week in jail, or I'm not sure. I've never exposed myself to face those types of consequences, so I don't know.
So
here's the thing.
That's a great point. He should be a sex offender.
Yeah, well, I feel like he's gonna get famous because he's already has 2,000 hits on YouTube. So I feel like he's gonna become a meme and just like go down in history. Is what I would assume for his story.
Thank you.
I like that.
I'm speculating, but I feel
Taylor
like I'm
has
right.
completed his story for us, and
You guys are what? It's called being a writer, okay?
I was like, it's the writer in her. She was like, yeah,
Writer in me.
that's exactly what happened to him. That's it.
Thank you. It's canon.
Yeah. So I do like when we make canon here on this show.
Yeah. I'm sure they really appreciate that over at FB Writers Room.
Well, they talk about it all the time.
These girls are making shit up left and right. Just making decisions. I mean,
we're helping.
So it's the fun part of this episode, which is a great episode, but it still was kind of like, it was still very sad.
Yeah.
When it happens like within a family, I think it takes it to another level because that's like the people that you innately trust. You're like, oh no, that's my cousin. No, that's my uncle. That's my aunt or whatever. Like, why am I? Of course, like, you know, so much so that you might be blinded to the fact that your daughters have been, you know, sexually abused for the past decade.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that you point that out because it is Amaro who like struggles with that later in the episode when we realize that it's George and George confesses and says that it was a consensual relationship. He is the one who is like, this is her uncle and her mother is ignoring it. And it reminded me of in later episodes when Carisi comes in and Carisi is like, this is family. And he can't, like, neither of these guys can wrap their head around it. And I find it so interesting that it's always the new guy who struggles with it and not the women, because women know that this happens a lot.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, the interesting part about it was that the ally
characters
he had was someone else who also had mental health issues, which, I mean, low key, that was also a little Orange is the New Black reunion. I was like, you know, I forgot that he was, you know, when the show goes off and then like, you know, so many stars got like their break or like their first role on like Law and Order SVU. So when you see it later, you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. But he was the one who was like standing up for her, and like still, of course, like his mental state was like clearly diminished in some aspect. But
wait, I want to give him the shout out.
He knew it was possible. He was crazy as hell and knew it was possible. So
Jay is the character, Jay Delaney, played by Michael Chernus, who, yes, is in Orange is the New Black, but also is a repeat offender on SVU because he plays Carisi's sister's fiance who gets raped by his PO.
Yep. I remember, that was him. Sorry, he's always somebody's fiance. He always somebody's man. I'm happy for him. But wow, okay, yeah, you're right. Oh shoot, I forgot. I totally forgot about that.
That's okay. It's what I'm here for.
Oh, appreciate you. Goodness.
It's this kind of shit that I'm 100% here for. But also, speaking of repeat offenders, our Captain Charles Lee, played by Gavin Keith Ume, is also, I believe, Lil Tino. Whom was he Lil Tino or is he? Hold on, he's either Tino or he's Timmer. Hold on, Lil Tino. From the I remember he was a pimp. I couldn't remember which one. From that whole storyline of all the pimps and the trafficked women that ends up getting us Noah's mom and then Noah, like that whole storyline, you know, very complicated storyline.
Yeah.
He is Lil Tino there. I do appreciate that we see him twice.
This wolf will turn a pimp into a cop so quick it don't make any sense, because before Finn was Finn, he was a part of the Law and Order like universe, and he was a pimp, and he died. Like he died. Like he didn't like live, he died. Like,
well, and I mean, our girl Casey Novak was
a rapist.
A perp. Yeah, I love it. We gotta get you a girl who can do both, you know?
Rollins was a victim previously.
Exactly. We love that. Let him play all the parts.
And Creasy was a perp before, right?
I think he was in jail. He was a criminal, but I think he was actually a witness.
Yeah, he was really greasy and disgusting in that particular episode. I would have not ever recognized him had they not put his name in the credits. I would have been like, who is this man?
I think it was the episode where we then see Carisi go undercover into the halfway house with all the sex offenders, and we see him greasy again. I went, oh, wait a second. That's that guy from that old episode. All right, let's get back to this case.
Yes.
Sorry. So I want to talk really quick about the naked fish and when he witnesses this rape and he starts shouting, somebody help, rape. And it made me remember how, I don't know if I'm going to assume that you both have been told this, but probably lots of women have been told this, that in an assault, you do not shout rape because no one will come. You shout fire.
Fire. Yep. I've heard that before.
So watching him shout this and no one showing up, I was like, oh, you don't know.
It's on brand. It is. That, or I've heard to tell your attacker that you are pregnant, because sometimes that is a deterrent. You being with child is a deterrent.
Oh.
It's so crazy that we're coming up with so many different ways to like teach women how to protect themselves from rape, as opposed to like, you know, finding the rapist in your local family. I don't know, like
right.
Sure. Or you know, the thing that I think people seem to forget is instead of teaching your daughter not to get raped, teach your son not to rape.
Yeah.
Just saying would be a lot.
Yeah. These are the lessons you learn on the SVU podcast.
No, I just think it's a matter of like holding people accountable. Like the best part about this show is that people are held accountable, you know, and it's a little bit different, I think, with this particular character of this Uncle George or whatever, because he was definitely a rapist. We saw him rape. But his like the pathology behind it was really an obsession with this little girl and an obsession with continuously raping her. We've also seen this with other characters in this series too, like that rapist just wants to rape this one person, wants to constantly brutalize this one person. He did it so damn well that he put her in a mental institution for people to question the validity of her reality, like that she talks about. Yeah, him yelling rape and trying to move in that wheelchair was really, I mean, you were moving really slow in a wheelchair. Do you know it has wheels? You just put your legs up and use your arms, right? You'll go way faster.
So when you talk about how you know, this character of Uncle George, you know, discredited her, she ended up in this facility. It reminds me of last week when we talked about legitimate rape, where it's scary. The idea that this episode is scary, like that one, where this is a thing that happens, that people, as Gia says later, she says, you know, in the real world, he's sane, because no one's going to believe her. And it reminded me of last week's episode where, like, in the actual world we live in, rapists have parental rights.
Right.
That was disgusting.
Yeah. So we find out that based on his description, the character, the woman we're looking for is Gia Eskis. And she, you know, doesn't deny that it happens, but makes it pretty clear to Rollins and Benson that no one's going to believe her and she's not going to try to pursue it. And Rollins says if she was raped, it's going to be hard to get anyone to believe her. And Benson says that makes her the perfect target. And that is the whole premise of this episode.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise of predators.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Easy target.
Mm-hmm. So we go to her mother to get permission for her medical records. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that Rollins puts together that her mother is going to be the one who has the guardianship and is her legal guardian. And also earlier, Finn is like, Rollins, you could tell the difference between a chemical wig out and a psychotic break. And this episode really teases a lot about who Rollins is. She mentions her sister, and this is only the 8th episode with Rollins. So I definitely, I was saying to Taylor earlier off the air, I didn't realize how early on we had all this information about Rollins, all these teases about who her character is. You know, she says, I grew up around both chemical wig outs and psychotic breaks. She has a sister who has a lot of trouble. She could tell very quickly. She said, I'm betting that it's going to be the mom who has guardianship. There was all of this stuff. And then she later on teases to Benson about what happened to her back in Atlanta, which brought her out to SVU. And I will say this, we have, through this show, through these seasons, a lot of our characters don't tell us their backstories, don't tease who they are until we get to a story about who they are. For example, Finn. We don't know most of his family history until the episode Dis, which is in season 18?
Yeah, it's late.
It's
late.
Well, as far as character development, like I would probably say he's had like the least, maybe because he's been around the longest. And I just think that his role in the show really changed. So like with Rollins coming in, like there was so much foreshadowing. I feel like they had to know that they were going to have her for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And who would have really thought, like, come on now, back in the 90s, like, oh yeah, Ice-T is going to be on this like the longest running television dramas and playing a cop at that. So I think when he was there, if you watched the like first seasons or the first like times of him being there, he was like a relief. And like he was like in a shell, and he was really, really hard, and he wasn't like really open anyway. So it makes sense to find out more about him, even after we find out about newer characters like Rollins and even Nick Amaro.
Right.
Is like about his life this episode, like his moral compass. Like you said, like he couldn't believe somebody in your family would do that. Yeah, we don't get a lot of Finn, but when we do get it, especially now, like in these more recent seasons, I love it. I love it.
I agree. I think you make a really great point, because Finn only joined it in season 2. And I think it's a very fair point to be like, yeah, Ice-T's not going to stay on this show that long. So I think that's fair. But, you know, we eventually introduced his son, and then we gave his son a backstory. And then we introduced his ex-wife. And then eventually we found out about her being assaulted. And then we found out about her brother or someone later in a Christmas episode. Like, we found out about his family more than we ever found out about him.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a really weird to me, because Rollins, I just didn't realize that they planted all these seeds so early on. I felt like her story as it developed was similar to his, where they were like, oh, what if we do an episode and now we'll reveal this thing about her? But no, we should have known that it was coming.
That's why I think I love this episode so much, or like a major reason why I do, because like as problematic as she is, like I've always found Amanda to be really like rich and fascinating character. And I think in this episode, it's fun to see, because she says things that are like harsh, and it's like, maybe you shouldn't say that. Even with like, well, it might not be up to her if we get her medical records or whatever. Like that is like sort of a shitty thing to say, but she's right and she's logical. And she's saying these things because she's realistic, I think, in a sense. And like, she's like, we have to get to point A to point B, even if it's messy, even if it's not like cute, like we have to get there somehow. And so I like have always found that to be a really interesting, like sort of part of her character. And I like that we get to see that now, because we don't always like her, but she is just doing the best that she can with what she has, I think.
Wait, you don't always like her?
I do. I love her, but like she's polarizing.
I did not like her in part 33. That is the
No,
one.
that's fair. No, there
Wait.
are times, but her character's so interesting.
I have a second episode that I didn't like her because Dr. Al was cheating on her with a prostitute. It was all anti-sex workers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were
I totally get that.
Like, she was scorned. Like, I'm sorry if my rich doctor baby dad was cheating on me with sex worker. I might be talking my stuff. I might be talking about I was thinking hook a hussy to hook my man. I might say that.
He's the problem, not the sex worker.
It's true.
Like, sometimes they just hit people. And you just can't, they just, some people's anger is like, that's just what happens. Sorry, you just, sometimes, you ever been in the line of fire? Literally, you're in the line of fire, someone's mad about something that has nothing to do with you, and it happened. You're like, oh, I didn't do it. Sorry to the sex workers. I think that do whatever you want to do. I believe in self-autonomy. But yeah, if my man cheated, I would probably talk some smack. I mean, she was salty. Also, like, are you surprised? Because I wasn't surprised when he did that.
No, of course not.
No, we hate that guy.
We didn't even meet him at that point, and we hated him. Here's what I'm gonna say. Just
was giving me daddy vibes.
Minor tangent before we get back to the episode. Just if your man cheats, who's
it's
at
your
fault?
Man's fault.
Yes,
it's true.
If she ain't in a relationship with you, he is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so.
Maybe she should be. Maybe we do go that route. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Taylor,
I'd be here for it.
If anyone out there is listening and you're just wondering what happened to certain characters that maybe you feel like the writers of Law and Order SVU did not do for you, go and follow Taylor and ask her what she thinks happened to these specific characters.
If there's one thing I'm going to do, it's push the lesbian agenda. Okay?
100%.
As I should.
It is very welcome.
Thank you. I got you. I got you for that.
If I'm gonna push anything, it's that Barisi ship.
Have we seen like a same sex consistent character couple now we have Finn and Phoebe and
yes. Finn's son and his husband Alejandro.
That's a kid. See, for me, I guess it counts. It does count.
They are consistent ever since they got together and then got engaged and had a son. But we also have Kat's girlfriend in the current season.
That's what I'm asking.
We love that.
Your series regulars, they are reoccurring, but they could have a little more fluidity.
Yes. I would like that.
Dick Wolf, a little more fluidity, please.
Look,
go.
There's no argument from this panel.
No.
This panel very much wants more queer ships.
Period.
Yeah. Oh, well, we know which one y'all want the most, though.
I want one that very much exists in my head, regardless of what happened at the end of season 22.
There's another timeline universe that happens in, and we do the show and we talk about it.
Okay, we need to get back to this episode. I'm so sorry.
Why do you have to be a hater every week? A hater every week from Felicia. Just keeps me humble and grounded.
Sorry, we're making Yo's job so hard. Sorry, Yo. Go ahead.
No, I want to, girl. I want to talk about ships, but we got to talk about this first.
Okay.
Otherwise, our episode's gonna be 3 hours today. All right, so we get the records. So her mom says, I think this is the key. Is her mom says she's denying the accusation. That's a first, because she first accused somebody of rape when she was 14, just after her father was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He's been in a facility for 10 years. I made a note of that because I feel like every time I forget that he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I watch this episode, I'm like, oh, right, he's not dead.
Yeah.
He's just away.
Yeah. So Gia recanted the accusation when she was 14, and Rollins knows and points out to Benson that it's an uphill battle. And Benson again says just because it's unwinnable doesn't mean we stop. And I think that's such a first of all, the most Benson-y thing I've ever heard, but also that's why this show is so good, is the hope that it gives you.
Yeah.
That
the real world's not like that.
Yeah, that there's someone who cares.
Mm-hmm.
So then Amaro finds us this incident with Jay, which we talked a little bit about, and an orderly, both Jay and our...
Jay said, "Don't walk behind me. Don't walk behind me." I felt that in my spirit. I don't like that either. Don't walk. Like, if you're talking to me, like, just don't walk behind me.
The way that Amaro and Rollins interrogated Jay and then he flipped out felt like...
of course he did.
Illegal.
Of course he did. Yeah, of course.
It reminded me of Stabler. Because
Yeah.
he would pull shit like that too.
Well, Olivia said that.
They're just baiting him at that point, which I get it, but also, come on.
What's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
You're not going to get an answer. You're not
Not
going
a
to get
true
the
one.
result that you want just by getting him to freak out.
It was a little... It's like, I think it was one of those moments where it was like, this is a television show. Like, it reminds you of that. Because, like, really with two police officers who have no, like, as far as I know, their credentials don't include anything on mental health. Even though Rollins will talk somebody down off a ledge, though. She will talk down. But she will. But even she doesn't make out with you to do it. But got to see it through, my boy. But like, it just wouldn't happen like that. Like, even if they were questioned, like, there would probably be, like, you know, their doctor there, or there's some other types of parameters around that.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it's just like cool to see the scene with Amaro and Rollins, because, like, you know, like the new kids, like...
Yeah, but the thing is, Rollins earlier on, right, the whole up until this point in the episode was like, I've been around people with mental illness, I understand. And then she sits there and is like, ooh, what if I bait this guy and trigger him into freaking out? How is that helpful? You of all people know this.
She might know, but she might not care.
That's true. But as you were pointing out, Felicia, later, you know, when Amaro's upset about Uncle George, Benson reminds him that, like, that Stabler used to want to tear off people's heads as well and got very close. And
Stabler used to be knocking people's heads between the washer and the dryer. He's like literally just up against the, you know, how many times he puts somebody's face up against the wall? Like,
yes.
That's a great drinking game. That's a great drinking game.
That is a good drinking game. This show, the amount of drinking games we've come up with will get you so wasted during a marathon.
I'm ready to play. Maybe we do that one week where we just live stream a drinking game or we watch an episode. That'd be special. That'd be special.
You know, I'm down.
Okay. Comment below if you want it.
You're gonna watch with us.
So Jay was protecting Gia from one of the guards. His name is Charles Lee. And I love when they're looking through his locker and he's like, Finn, you know me. And he goes, not enough to like you.
Not enough to like you. You know I wrote it down.
Of course.
Not enough to like you. I love Finn. He keeps it so real every week.
So
I wonder how much when he says those little one-liners, because he is a musician, because he's a creative person, I wonder, like, how much of that is, this is what was written here, or hey, go ahead and, you know, play around here if you want to, because he's been there for so long, like, and he knows the character, like, he knows himself, you know. So I always wonder, like, and he has if you follow Ice-T on Twitter, he has smart mouth.
Yeah.
He's very sarcastic, so it wouldn't strike me odd if he just, like, makes up
for better or for worse. For better or for worse.
For showered or not showered, breastfed your 5-year-old or not breastfeeding your 5-year-old. That's what happened. Y'all looking at me like,
I know.
I was breastfeeding my 5-year-old. I don't even have a 5-year-old. I only have a 4-year-old cat. But
well,
it'd be gnarly if I breastfed.
Careful, cat teeth are
How
sharp.
did we get here? How did we get here?
Okay.
Sorry.
So let's talk about Charles Lee, who says anyone in a psychiatric institution is unable to consent. I know the law. So then why is her DNA in your pants? Wouldn't be from a rape. I was just doing my job. And I was like, go on.
That's one of the dumbest things I've heard in my life. In my life, one of the dumbest things I've heard. That's hard to do because I've heard a lot of dumb shit.
Taylor, he had a responsibility to find out why she needed a gun.
sir.
The best part.
They're giving him 3,000. I don't understand.
The best part is as soon as they go, okay, so what did you find out? She wouldn't tell me.
Like, come on. They can't.
Yeah.
I think that really established her mindset too, because it was like, okay, yeah, no, she's really a victim because she's so desperate.
Yeah.
She won't kill him. What do you want a gun for? Fun?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it does rhyme, but it doesn't really happen like that in real life.
Just because it's catchy doesn't make it true.
That's okay. I'd wear a t-shirt that says that.
Just because it's catchy doesn't mean it's true.
I honestly, I really like the reference when they said, "I hope Bill Gates is on your jury," because blowjob is not sex. Honestly, any teenage boy would tell you that. A teenage girl also would probably tell you that. But it
wait,
is.
Bill Gates?
Not Bill Gates, Bill Clinton.
I was like, wait. Bill Gates did that?
I was like, I heard there was no, so I wasn't sure because there was some scuttlebutt about why him and Melinda broke up that may or may not.
Sorry.
I was just like, wait.
Real life super offender.
I was thinking about the 90s and a bill, and that was the one that came out. Sorry.
No, that's so fine. I was just like really wanting to clarify because I was like, hold up.
I appreciate it because I did not notice that I said it.
Okay. Okay, I'm with you now.
Okay, great. Clinton, everybody.
Clinton.
I mean, the fact that is still a relevant reference is odd, but okay.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Murphy's making it so.
I know.
He's making it so.
Ryan Murphy said, "Oh, you thought we were gonna forget about that? No, honey."
Boom! Sarah Paulson starring in.
I have a lot
American
of
Crime
thoughts.
Story.
I have a lot of thoughts about that. We're moving on. Benson tells Gia that a gun isn't the answer. And I really, really like this part where Gia's like, says the woman who wears one on her hip.
Yep. That's such a good line.
And then Benson is like, but it didn't help me. And I really love that scene. And I think it's so important. And is a really good, could be used as promotional for why we don't need guns in homes. But still, I think really good scene.
I think this part was interesting too, because that's such a vulnerable topic for her that she doesn't talk about very much. And so I think it was it was really impactful that she decided to share it here, because she knew that this is one of the only things that could actually help her and relate to her and get her to connect with her. So I thought that was really powerful, because she doesn't just throw that around and so I appreciated that she pushed herself to open it up here.
Well, when you think about the time and place of this episode, it's season 13. So if I am putting it all together correctly, she is referencing season 9 Undercover.
Yep.
This is before the other.
Yep.
My girl done been all types of violated. It's a shame. That's a shame.
But she survived.
Can one of the guys get kidnapped? Equal opportunity kidnapping.
If I've learned anything from season 1 of Outlander, it is that men can be brutalized. And
I haven't watched that show. I should check it out.
I'll give you a content warning for anyone who wants to watch Outlander.
Going through the rest of the Dick Wolf universe, which includes the Chicago. I'm have finished all of Chicago Med, season 1.
You're a traitor for that, just so you know. You're a traitor for that.
I knew you guys were gonna say that, but I watched Chicago Med. I did not watch Chicago PD. Why? But because it was a part of the Dick Wolf universe, and I really wanted to see, because I have not enjoyed the show with Chris Maloney. I haven't enjoyed it. That's why I didn't bother remember the name. I didn't really enjoy it. And so I wanted to see if it was just him or if it was the whole, I wanted to see if I liked other things. So I just wanted to explore, look along.
And so what was the verdict? What was the verdict?
I love it.
Okay. I don't know why I'm saying that. I haven't seen it. I don't know why I'm judging.
Guys, obviously, I'm going to be kicked off.
Okay.
Thank you, Felicia, for joining us.
Go ahead and go start your Chicago podcast.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You are so welcome here. And anytime we are forced to cross over with Chicago, you are now responsible for being the expert.
Not my favorite. The crossovers are not my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I really truly just like this show by itself, but I understand why it happens, because it is the draw for people. It's what people fall in love with. It's the show that literally, when I tell people we do this podcast, they go, "Oh my God, I love this show." So I get it why they bring them in, but it's kind of like, why does Law and Order SVU have to give you the validity? I get it, but Chicago Med is good, so.
That's fair.
All right. Well, before we get back to the show we're actually talking about, just want to say, if anybody who hasn't yet watched Outlander and doesn't choose to watch it, there is a lot of sexual assault, and it is extreme. So just
so be warned then.
Be warned. Yeah, that's a serious content warning. It is a lot. All and it doesn't stop. Anyway, so back to this. Gia finally tells Benson and Rollins what happened. So she said it was Uncle George, and it's been happening since she was 14. He put her, he made her take photos and all this stuff. And Benson says, Uncle George is going to go to jail, and she doesn't believe her. But luckily, we see that, of course, Benson is right. And then we have the little tease about Rollins and what happened in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So we find the footage of George impersonating a doctor. We arrest him. We have one of my favorite parts of this episode, and it's Bella being like, Gia's doing it again. Tell her to stop. And then she says,
I need to rant about how much I hate that bitch.
Hold on. Let me just say this part.
I'm sorry. I couldn't keep it in. Go ahead.
Bella says, please don't do this. And then Rollins says, this is, I think, the quickest Rollins has ever been. And she says, that's probably exactly what Gia said to your husband the first time you raped her. And I was like, shit, this is great. Taylor, tell us.
I hate her so much.
Who?
She is Bella. She's the worst kind of person. When you know and you're staying by the person who's doing it, and beyond that, she's just an asshole to her mom. Just treat your mom better too.
That's her sister.
She gets under my skin she's an asshole to everyone except for George, to be honest.
George is her bitch. She's an asshole to everyone.
Yes, that's true. Honestly, this actress is amazing because she makes me just want to strangle her so much.
I want to give a shout out.
She's one of my favorite shows ever, which is True Blood. It's one of my favorite television shows
what
ever.
Did I say, Taylor?
I didn't watch True Blood. I'm sorry, but she's a great villain in this episode because she's so just she's pretty subtle about it. But I'm just
you've been demoted from friend to co-host, Taylor.
Okay, you know what, Felicia? Guess what? You watch Chicago, so we're even. Okay.
Carrie Preston is the actress. She is fucking incredible. I also know her from True Blood. A lot of people know her now from the
Claws.
Good Wife, Good Fight, yeah. One of those. Claws. She's doing great stuff. She's amazing. I also feel like we haven't even pointed out the biggest name of the episode, which is Gia herself, played by Natasha Lyonne, whom, was in Orange is the New Black, is currently the star of Russian Doll on Netflix, was in But I'm a Cheerleader.
That is literally one of my favorite.
So good.
She's amazing. So good. She was in American Pie. Natasha Lyonne is amazing, and to see her in this role is so fantastic. Audrio says you should see her in The Good Wife. So I knew it was a Good Wife or Fight, one of those CBS shows. Yes, Carrie Preston's in The Good Wife. Thank you, Audrio. And I want to give a real quick shout out to Tim Guinea, who plays George, specifically because I've met him and he's the sweetest man in the world. He's such a gentle, soft-spoken man.
That's always how it goes. The people who are just complete horrible people are so kind in real life. I feel
like JC, who we had for Raw.
We've been literal Nazi. Yeah.
He was
so nice.
He was such a nice person. Also too, Bella's sister
Diane.
She was in True Blood too.
Yeah, J. Smith Cameron is the name of that actress. I will say the casting of them, of Diane and Gia, like I 100% believe they're related, and I think it's the hair.
Yeah. Totally.
Really incredible cast. All right, let's
talk
about George. Let's talk about George, who, comes in and he's like, yeah, what we have is real. We're in love. I fell in love with her. And I think that, we've had this relationship. We've tried to fight it. I waited till she was 17. No one ever waits. And then he's like, she's dramatic. She can't live without me. She's making threats to kill herself because she wants me to leave my wife. Genuinely, I would have gone, why didn't she just tell your wife that you're in love with her?
Yeah, like
crazy people don't hold anything back.
Right. Like if you're telling me there's a consensual relationship and she wants you to leave your wife, you know what she could do to make you leave your wife?
Tell her.
She's boning you.
Right. But then he produces the letter. And this is, I think, the most infuriating part of this episode for me, because that is not a letter. That is something that a kid scribbles. When I was in, I think it was second grade, we were taught how to write letters, right? You were taught where the address goes on the envelope and where the stamp, we're taught this. And to do that, we sent letters, I think, to the president, because you'd get back like a little card with a picture. And then
have pen pals?
We'd have pen pals, but first, you have to learn how to write it. And so first, I think maybe you'd write a letter to your parents. And then at some point you write to the president, because they automatically send back a thing. It doesn't matter what you send them. They automatically send back a picture.
I didn't know
that. I'm about ready to write one. I want a picture.
You will get a picture of the president, possibly of the first wife, first lady.
First dog.
Lady?
So I wanted a picture of the cat. Specifically, my letter said I'd like a picture of the cat. Did not get one. It. No, they don't read the letters. They don't read them. Anyway, my point being, I could have sworn that my first letters to my parents just said "I love you" because I had nothing to say. That's not a letter. That's I'm learning how to write. I'm learning English. I'm learning how to spell.
And there are multiple academia journals that talk about how sometimes kids at that age have confusing feelings when it comes to love and relationships. They don't understand that. And if children who have expressed like love, that kind of love, like, but towards like parents or people in parental figures, which we know is inappropriate, but they don't know that it's inappropriate, or that is not how you express how you feel, or those are not the actual descriptions of your feelings, because they're like learning all of that. So like, this is a thing, like, what is it, the Oedipus complex, like being in love like with mom, Oedipus. Oedipus, thank you. Who is Oedipus? Oh, that's a software for editing. Sorry.
We're good.
You tell what I do for a living. But yeah, like that complex. And so when I saw that, I was like, that was a little girl who maybe had a crush, if that.
But it doesn't even prove it.
You kept it for like 15 years. Wouldn't it be like 15 years, right?
So the assault was 10 years, so 12 years. Because the thing, she wrote it at 12. So it's before he started raping her. At that point, of course she loves her uncle. That's their family.
Yeah.
That's it. That's not also letter. What a stretch. Zach in the chat says, Jesus Christ, that letter. I agree.
Seriously.
For real.
So Bella and Diane come in to defend George. And we find out this
off. Piss Taylor off in the meantime.
Yeah, Taylor off.
Sure did.
This isn't the first time that she accused George. The first time was 10 years ago. Dun, dun, everybody. I wish I was in that room. I would have been like, dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
Hello.
Dun, dun.
George, they tell them that George confessed to a consensual relationship with Gia for 10 years, says they're in love. And Amaro, he struggles with this. And then Benson says, you do everything you can to make sure that he never sees the light of day. That's all we can do at this point. So then they show Gia the letter to ask her about it. She's like, it's not a letter. It's a scribble.
Yeah.
And then Benson realizes that if the letter has been kept since she was 12, those photos.
What else is kept? Yep. Genius.
Also, for whatever reason, we find out that Bella didn't have cancer. She had her gallbladder removed.
I thought that was so funny because, like, how? What? Like, why would you lie about that?
Something was the matter with her when we saw her in our first introduction. It seemed like something medically was wrong. We saw her getting out of the car and barking at people because she couldn't carry the groceries in. And well, first off, I don't know why you're saying cold needs to go in first and then warm needs to go in. No, there's one trip, baby, and we're bringing everything.
Right.
You know, and then like she just medically seemed like it was like deeper than rap. But I love that they hid that because honestly, I feel like it was a little obvious that it was the uncle when we first saw him. I was like, it's the uncle. It's the uncle.
Really?
As soon as he entered onto the camera on the screen, I said, yeah, it's definitely the uncle. I was like, oh yeah, it's him. It's him.
Wow.
Sick wife. And I thought it's something like cancer or chronic illness. I thought she had a chronic illness, not like gallbladder, but she had a chronic illness. And so I was like, oh, and that would make sense. Like your wife is sick. Like, I don't know that, you know, does to someone's sex drive or, you know, the fact that this family is dependent 100% on you. It's a different power dynamic. So I know he was it when I first saw him. I said, oh, that's him. Nasty.
I love you.
But I didn't know that's with her. Like, I didn't know it was an obsession with her and not like a primal, just like lust, like mental health issue of his own, because he's obsessed with her. Like that with the combination locker was like, oh, sweat.
Oh, that scene is so good too. I love that scene because Diane finally grows that backbone, and I'm like, thank you, finally. Bella's like, no, it's always there.
It's never been there.
She tells them all of the
I would
dates
know.
that they want to know. I cleaned your house for 15 years.
Yeah,
oh, I'm not lying. See, I love that. She's like, screw you. Like, I'm finally done with this. And such a good scene. It's so suspenseful. And then when it's her birthday, you just know it's gonna work.
Oh, 424. I was like, it's gonna be 424, and it was 424. Oh, with the pink bronze side.
And the picture's dated. It is dated. What kind of moron?
Dumbass. You dumbass.
Foolish. Yeah. So George goes away. And Gia's getting better. She's got a long road. But, you know, the good news, I do appreciate that her mother in the end helps. And that eventually they can get back to a healthier place together.
She knows she has to forgive her mom. The thing is, I want to know, like, are y'all going to let her out the mental institution? Because I don't see, well, maybe she's on her medication and that makes it like a better, easier to communicate with her. But they didn't show where like she was erratic or having this kind of behavior. So yeah, I guess I'll just wait and see what Taylor writes for this character.
Thank you. Yeah, don't worry, I'll figure it out.
I'd
love to see her again.
To keep in mind about her situation, right? Like her father has schizophrenia and mental illness, as her mother says, runs in the family. And you know, earlier on, her mother says like she'll take her medication, start feeling better, and realize and stop taking the medication, then she'll need it again, and then she'll self-medicate with drugs and alcohol. So like, you know, I think that now that we've dealt with, or now that she has been seen and heard and believed, I think that there is a trajectory and a process that could lead her to being released and living a, I don't want to say normal, but a regular life.
Normal.
Right. A regular life full of less dramatic and traumatic issues like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Well, she won't be raped anymore. So I think that should really like clear that trauma part up a little bit.
Should help.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about our favorite lines from this episode. I have two. Taylor, I'm sure you have a billion.
No, because we mostly said them all.
You did, yeah, you did kind of say a lot of them. I know.
I have three.
Felicia, I want you to go first.
Play the lotto today, guys, because this never happens. So the line that I wrote down was right after Olivia and Amanda talk to the victim, and Olivia walks out. She sighs. She goes, "This is going to be an uphill battle." And then Amanda says, "That's what we do it for." And I was like, "That's what we do it for." Like, you're absolutely right. Like, you might not necessarily immediately believe, because Amanda like really didn't seem like she super believed what was happening, or this was even actual victim, or this was even actual sex crime that happened. But when she did and knew what happened, she was like 100% tapped in. And our team is like always tapped in, no matter what the outcome is, good, bad, or indifferent. They're always like tapped in and like fighting as hard as they can for what's right and wrong, even if they do bend their own rules.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was my line. I only got one.
I love it.
That's good.
I have, I believe it was Munch who says it, but it was after they talked to the naked fish, and he says, "I don't think that guy premeditates or even thinks." That made me laugh so hard.
He was like there, but not there this episode.
Yeah, he was there for a minute. I was like, wait, is Cragen away? Where are we in the timeline?
He did download a little, so I guess
yeah. And then Gia says, because Gia was so funny when we first met her. He was like not having it. And she says, Cagney and Lacey were just leaving.
I wrote that one down too. I love that.
I assumed you also wrote the other one she said right before that I didn't want to include. I wanted you to have it, but go for it. What do you got?
Oh, I don't know if it's the same one, but I love how she's talking about like some girls go here and here on, to vacation. Me, I vacation at LaGuardia Psychiatric. I'm just like, I love her so much. Like, she is just incredible. She did such a good job this episode. And then an actual earnest line that I have that's not funny. That's actually what I really like. I know that never happens, but it might be the last one of the episode. Like, you survive the abuse, you're gonna survive the recovery. I really like that because it was like very hopeful, and I think that maybe Gia started to believe it just a little bit, which felt very hopeful. I like that we ended on a really like good note on this episode. So it was, obviously a really heavy one.
Yeah. I also have then, if you aren't, I thought you were gonna say it, but I guess not.
Sorry.
When we talked to Gia and they're like, "We heard you were assaulted," she said, "Who told you that? If it's one of my fellow inmates, you can't believe a word they say. They're all crazy."
Yeah, I just like love her character so much. And Natasha Lyonne is just like the perfect person to deliver it.
Literally, just took the words. I was like, she plays like unstable. Well, I don't want to keep saying the word crazy, but she plays unstable very well.
It's so sassy. I love it.
It's the character was so good. So those are our best lines. We have a lot, which I love. This episode was not ripped from a headline, but I do have some fun, exciting thing that happened on the internet that I want to tell you all about.
Please.
So our beloved Mariska Hargitay happens to be in a music video.
Oh yes. Yes. Let's talk about this, shall we?
Yeah, she's in a music video.
Lesbian agenda, baby. Let's go.
Music video.
They're so cute.
The singer is Grace Gustad, I think it's Gustad is how her last name is said. The song is called 93 Days. You can watch the video on YouTube. I watched it. I also checked out other music by this artist who I was not familiar with. And it's not bad. She's pretty good. I like this music that this artist is putting out. And the video is great. Of course, Mariska's incredible in it. Not to sound like a fangirl, but she's amazing and can't do anything wrong. So Taylor, you're familiar with this artist?
I wasn't before this, but now I am, and I love it. It's very like queer music, which we love to see it, and she's great. I feel like she just might blow up after this. We have Mariska Hargitay in your music video. I think that's probably a pretty good sign that you are doing something right.
It looks like from the YouTube channel, because I was like, looking for this video, and it seems like she's putting it. So A, she's putting out a new album, and B, almost all of the songs, she's releasing the song and the video like regularly. I don't want to say daily because I'm not sure, but it looked like very like this was, I think, day 7 or episode 7 that it came out, and she's on episode 11 already. Like and this was a few days ago. She's regularly releasing this stuff.
I think she's very much like a visual art with her music.
You mean like Beyonce?
Artist. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
I mean, she's not Beyonce, but yes.
Not yet.
No, I'm just saying.
No one's Beyonce except Beyonce.
No one's Beyonce, but I just don't want it to sound like the idea of a visual album is like something brand new. Like,
right,
but
no, definitely not.
Working really hard, like, and to get it out there, and you gotta like put it out there because the world is moving so fast. If you don't put it out there, like people will like go to sleep on your project. But I'm gonna have to check it out. I liked her makeup. She intense.
She did a superhero themed one, which I obviously checked out. If you want to see the music video after our episode,
she got Mariska to get on the music. That's what I want to know. Because if that's the Taylor, you can write us a song.
I'll do it.
And who's
I will do it.
Felicia, you sing?
I love this idea. I can rap, maybe.
I will hum.
I can rap.
No, Yelk, you can sing.
I don't sing.
I sing. No, I don't. But I will if Mariska agrees to be in the video.
Just saying.
I can sing now.
I'm trying to figure out ways to get her on the show, you guys. You got to think outside the box sometimes.
I don't know if you know this. We could probably invite her. We haven't done that.
Let's do it.
Anyway. Yes, if after this episode, if you want to watch the music video that Mariska's in, there is a link below. But do not click it until you're done listening to us, and we're not done yet. So
yeah, you don't want to miss my poll.
Right. It is time for the weekly poll. Taylor, what was the poll 2 weeks ago? Because we did not do it last week without you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's my thing. It's my space. Don't sample on it. Except for Felicia already does with the hotline, but fine. Well, one thing for me.
Don't act like
one thing for me.
Like
anyway. The poll 2 weeks ago was your favorite episode where a squad member gets framed / is falsely accused of something. This was not close. I'm going to be honest with you. This was not a close poll at all. In last place, rightfully so, we have Mea Culpa, which is the Peter Stone episode. And it got 3.6% of the vote. Still too high in my opinion, but it's fine. In third place, we have Delinquent. That's season 12, episode 23. Elliot gets accused in that one.
That one's a great episode, but the accusal part is irrelevant.
You've said that before.
I just
way to say it again. Way to insult my pool making. Fine.
I wanted it on the record. Go on.
Great. Well, it's on. Consider it on. In second place, Lost Reputation. That's the Craig in bed with the stripper episode. That's just what I always call it now. That got 14.3% of the vote. Overwhelming majority people chose Perverted, which is the one we talked about, which got 75% of the vote. That's the one where Olivia, we find out she has a car, and a lot of stuff goes down. It's a great episode. That's
what if one, if had it been on the poll, is the one where Cassidy is accused, because that was a great one. Go on.
If you are listening to us on the audio podcast and not getting to watch us right now, all you are missing is a whole lot of side eye from Taylor to Yael, and I could feel it on my computer screen, and I'm just laughing silently.
Great.
What's happening?
Thank you for letting our audio listeners know.
Anyway,
go ahead, Taylor.
Thank you. It's in the description here. So this week we're asking everyone what your favorite episode with an Orange is the New Black actor is. There are literally, I use Mr. Google to help me figure this out. Sorry, Miss Google. I'm thinking Google's a woman. Miss Google to help me figure this out. There are apparently 33 episodes where Orange is the New Black actors are in it. And I think that list was made a while ago. So there's probably even more now. So just as a caveat, you can comment below if yours was not included. Obviously, Porn Stash, William Lewis Arc. We've been talking about those a lot lately, so I didn't include them. But if those are your favorite, you can absolutely write them in the comments. They're not my favorite, but it's fine. Hey, what up? What's up, Yael?
Sorry, I'm raising my hand. I just want to also point out that that Pablo Schreiber was in an older episode previously as well.
Yes.
Before William Lewis. Go on.
So yeah, you can put either one of those if you'd like, but I just chose a couple of my personal favorites because I make the poll and I can do that.
I love
it. Yeah, I'm gonna use the advantages. First we have Transitions, which we talked about pretty recently on this channel. It's the one with the, didn't we? This was the one with the twins, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but
twins?
that's season 10. Hold on, let me Google this because now I'm like doubting myself.
Oh no!
Is this right?
You know, I don't know the episode titles.
It is. No.
Which twins?
No, it's not. I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. No, anyway, this was Transitions. I'm sorry.
What episode is this?
This is the one where the man is beaten in the parking lot and there's a transgender teenager.
Oh, I absolutely love this episode. Sorry,
yes, it's a great episode. I got it confused with the other one real fast that we just talked about with the twins, where one was raised as a girl, one was raised as a boy.
That's, I believe, called Identity.
Yes, I'm sorry. I got those mixed up in my head.
Okay. Or my birthday. That's how I know them.
That's right. I'm sorry. This is also a great episode, though.
Good. It's the one where Stabler finally says that if his child transitioned, he would love them regardless, which is so unlike him.
Yes, but correct, as he should. No, I'm sorry. Yes, it's a different episode than what I was talking about. Ignore what I just said, but this is a great episode. And this has Leah Delaria, if I'm saying that correctly, in it, who plays Big Boo on Orange is the New Black. Amazing character. Great episode, great actor. We also have Possessed, which is the Taryn Manning episode. That's season 12, episode 12. That's a really haunting episode. That one's like
so good.
Scary. It's really good, but that one's very disturbing, I would say. We have Home Invasions, which is the one with Jake T. Austin randomly in it. That one's like a wild episode, but that has, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Alita Diaz.
Right.
But she's great in that episode as well. Honestly, I love all of these episodes so much. And then, of course, we have the one we just talked about, Educated Guess, which has two Orange is the New Black people, Natasha Lyonne and Michael Chernis. So, yeah, definitely go vote in that poll. We'll tell you where to find it in just a few minutes.
Oh, my goodness. Those are all such good episodes.
I know. And there was even more really good ones. Like, there was even more good ones. So, if you have another one that comes to mind, please do share it in the comments.
Oh, man, that's so good. That's a really good poll. I don't even know what to vote for.
I know, me too.
All right, we'll tell you where to find that again, as Taylor said, in just a bit. Now we got to do the segment we always forget about. What did we learn?
What did I learn?
No one came prepared this week.
I sure didn't.
Oh, I learned that they teased Rollins' story about her sister, about mental illness, about addiction, abuse, about what happened to her in Atlanta so early into introducing her, because I did not realize that, and I thought that we just added that information later. So I learned that, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I will say I'll just kind of like steal half of yours. I remember that you said something happened to her on the job. I always remember that scene. But in the beginning, I didn't remember that either, where she's like, yeah, I've been around like mental illness and drugs. I've been around all of it. And I didn't realize that was teasing Kim either. And I guess like other parts of her family as well. But I did remember one part of it. I did not remember that part. So they really planted a lot of seeds.
Absolutely.
You know what? Normally I got something for you, but I am literally went through and I looked in all my files. They were all empty in my brain.
You've learned nothing.
I remembered that how much I miss Munch as a part of the show, as part of the squad, his personality, what he brings to the table, his level of reasoning, his dry humor. I have a very dry sense of humor. If you watch you listen or watch the show for one whole episode, you'll find that out.
You have a sense of humor?
Yeah, just dry. Yeah, but I miss that level of authenticity that he just has. So I think I just enjoyed this episode because I got to see not very much of him, but I got to see him.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect thing we learned because I miss him. Awesome. All right, everybody. Just some last final announcements. We are here every week, almost every single week between now and the premiere, and then of course when the premiere, talking about older episodes. Keep an eye out on social. We'll announce what those are. I'm going to try to provide those earlier than the day before, but you have 24 hours to watch. That's plenty of time to rewatch these episodes with us. Also, if you don't know, we're making ridiculous merch, and there is a link for that below. If you're listening to the audio version, there's a link for that there as well. And the link to the music video we talked about also there. Until next week, Felicia, where can everyone keep up with you, and what are you up to these days?
Oh, for sure. Well, obviously I'm editing because I'm confusing see, I don't even know the complex anymore. So yeah, I'm just in my bag working, but I frequent Instagram, so you can find me at It's Felicia Michelle on Instagram. And obviously if you haven't been paying attention, you really need to, and you need to watch Leverage Redemption, because Yael and I do the Leverage Redemption after show, and it is just the official BT Dubs, like the official as a whistle after show, and it's just a really fun experience, and we get to do what we do here, but like we really get like to talk directly to and ask those questions. So it's just been a really fun experience. I'm also on a show called Talk It Up. It's a talk show. It airs in the Caribbean, but you can download the National Black Television app. It's streaming on Roku or any of those. It's free. You can catch me on there talking about politics, trending topics, and sometimes I get to be funny, but sometimes I actually get to flex my intelligence on this show a little bit, you guys.
Yes.
Check that out too.
I love that. I love that there's a place for you to do that because it's not this show.
Well, this is fun. This is friends. This is the key, you know. I don't have to be a nerd or a journalist. Just be Felicia.
Taylor, where are you, and where can everyone find the poll?
Yes, you can find me and the poll on Twitter at alphabet_, and you can also find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. I obviously flex my intelligence as well on my Twilight podcast, When It Forks. Just as serious as Felicia's show. You'll learn just as much, I promise. And you can also find me writing at Show Snob, where I will be covering 9 Perfect Strangers when that premieres. So if you're a Nicole Kidman fan and a Nicole Kidman accent fan, you'll want to read those, okay?
Amazing.
Awesome. Congrats on a new show.
Yeah. Taylor.
Sorry, take that back. I didn't mean a new show. I meant your new opportunity for the article. Girl, my blood sugar's low. Sorry,
it's okay. No, we understood. No, look, we're friends again. I love that we made up before this episode was over, because I was feeling some tension between us.
Taylor's also going to check out True Blood because she's such a Twilight fan. It feels like she very much would like True Blood then. I don't understand why you haven't.
Okay, now I'm feeling bad again. I had one moment of reconciliation. Good. Now we're fighting again. The girls are fighting.
Yep. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. You can find me, like Felicia said, on the official Leverage Redemption After Show, a very distinctive podcast only on Electric Now. We just talked about episode 6, the card game job. And not only was the card game job my favorite episode of the first season of Leverage Redemption, but also our after show was so good for that one. So check that out. And you can also find me on Wednesdays over on the Hollywood Critics Association YouTube channel on a show called Hollywood Approved, where we basically go, what did you watch this week? And then we talk about it. We also do some ridiculous fan casting. So if you like weird, ridiculous fan casting, that is the show for you. What else am I doing? Other things that are coming that I can't tell you about yet, but keep up with me on the internet at Yael Tygiel. Make sure you have liked and subscribed to this show because we love doing it and we're not going to go anywhere, but it would be nice to see higher likes and subscriptions. It doesn't affect whether we're going to do it, just do it because it
just affects my heart. So
we're having fun, obviously we're having fun doing this, and it's just a great opportunity to just do what we love. And who doesn't love Law and Order?
Right.
It transcends people. Anybody can watch this show. So since anybody can watch this show, then everybody should be watching this podcast.
Maybe not like a 4-year-old, but other than that.
Maybe not 4-year-old.
I mean, Taylor's just looking for an excuse for the fact that she didn't start with season 1.
I was 3.
I
was 3.
Okay.
Whatever. All right, that's enough of this. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.